Hi, I'm Bob Wagner. We're in the month of November. Obviously holidays, we're thinking Thanksgiving, we're thinking a lot of time off with the family, which is what I truly enjoy. And recipes, something special that you can do, and something a little bit different. You rarely eat soup on Thanksgiving, but you know what? I want to do a soup for you, a simple soup that you can actually have the kids help you out. Wherever you are in the United States, even in Australia, you can find these products and make this simple soup. What we've got going on is some button mushrooms. So we have button mushrooms, simple enough to find. We've got a little bit of wild mushrooms. Wherever you are in the supermarket, you'll find a shiitake mushroom, or like today we have these incredible wood ear mushrooms. If you can't find those, no big deal. I actually have some black truffles that I stole from my house also. You probably won't find that at the supermarket, but some specialty shops. You can find them in cans, and a little something extra, a little fun bonus to it. And they're not really that expensive if you only buy one or two. Shallots I've chopped up. We've got some fresh thyme. Definitely go with the fresh thyme. A little bit of fresh garlic chopped up. Some chives. Everybody can find those. Chicken stock. I didn't make chicken stock. Low sodium chicken stock's the way to go. Got to have some butter in there. Salt and fresh ground white pepper. Let's get rocking. Start off with some butter. And the goal is to sear, sear, sear. We're going to get this really hot. We're going to smoke that pan almost. You don't want to burn that butter though. You want to get it to the point where it's almost a beurre noisette, as the French call it, or it's just starting to turn a little bit. But you don't want to brown those. You don't want to burn those milk solids in there. Just get it nice and hot. That's what I'm loving about. The gas. So extra. We even have an extra high. Now I'm really getting excited. So we're going to melt that, and we're getting in the big part of this, and you've seen all I've done is just gently patted down, rinsed and patted down these mushrooms. We're not going to overcrowd the pan. That's the last thing we want to do. Just get them in. We're going to do this in two little sections. And let these guys sear. We're not going to shake them. We're not going to move them. The goal, and the only reason these things are going to taste like anything, is because we got a nice sear on them. A little bit of salt and pepper each time. Each one gets seasoned separately. All right. Now we're just going to gently shake, let those guys go. We're going to let them do their own thing. They're going to absorb some of that butter, obviously, which is really good. We want that too. We're going to have another pot going here that we're just going to set on the flame. We're going to sear these separately, get a nice sear on them, then get a little bit of flip, get them seared on the other side. We're going to put them in this pot here, and then we're going to do another batch, and then at the end we're going to add the shallots and the garlic and the chicken stock, let that cook a little bit, and make it fun. It's too bad you guys can't smell this, because searing mushrooms in butter doesn't get any better, especially with the heat. Got to have the heat. That's one tough thing you really can't find with electricity a lot of times, is even heat, and be able to turn that off, turn it down, and play with it really quickly, which is so important in so many of the things we do in the kitchen. And then I've got these beautiful wild mushrooms, whatever you can find. These we're just going to sit over here in the corner. There's a nice little garnish that's going to go on the bottom. There we go. Just lightly season these guys. Same thing. Then we're going to pull them off. We're just going to give them a little flip, just for flavor. And if you can't find these, don't worry about it. You can still use some of these mushrooms as garnish. They're just not as cool as these guys. Look how pretty that's going to be. So we're going to pull these guys out, and we're going to use them as garnish for our soup. All right, now with this last batch, now is when we're going to add in our shallots. You can see that's two medium-sized shallots, good size guys. You want that shallot in there though. We're going to add probably one large clove of garlic. It's going to go in there again, and once again, everybody gets seasoned. A little bit on the shallots and garlic there. You want to be careful because it is a soup. Any pepper that we're going to use like that is going to, as long as it has time to cook in a stock, that pepper is going to bloom and really get strong as far as the pepper side to it, the heat. So we want to be careful with that. You want to let these sweat. We don't want to brown them just a tiny bit. All we want to do is cook them so doesn't have that raw shallot, raw garlic flavor, just enough to take that crazy harshness off us. Then we're going to deglaze with the chicken stock. And anything we got stuck to the bottom of the pan is going to take, obviously the word for deglazing, we're going to take up all that wonderful flavor off the bottom of the pan. Mushrooms are going to start cooking. These guys are still searing in this other pan, so we're almost getting a bonus on that, because then we'll deglaze that again with this. We're going to add a little bit of fresh thyme. This we're just going to put some branches in like this and let these guys do their thing, and then we'll remove them later. All we really want is that fresh thyme flavor. There you go, easy enough so far. That goes into that pan, and you can see all that wonderful goodness on the bottom of that pan's been taken up. And he's gonna simmer for about 10, 12 minutes. Really probably 15 to let it go, but just to simmer like that, don't cover it up, doesn't matter. All right, we're at about 12 minutes now, which is fine. This is all this stuff, all of the mushrooms need to do is just cook them through, and then we're gonna get rid of our thyme. It's given up all its wonderful thyme flavor. All right, next up, what we're gonna do is pour this into our blender. This will not work in a food processor. So this is gonna go in here, up. And if you're lucky like that, you didn't spill it. We're gonna get it kick-started. What I like about this one is it's got a little speed to it. All right, so we're gonna gradually go up. And one thing, even if you've got a lot of soup, the last thing you wanna do is fill it. You don't wanna fill it up really over half, because I want it to be able to really emulsify, really turn the way it should. And when I'm gonna turn this guy up and it's really gonna go to town, whereas if you've got it way up here, it's definitely not gonna get all that time. I'd rather do it a couple times to really get it pureed. And the one really special thing about this soup is how fine it is. We're gonna turn it up here now. I'm going to take the top off here, and hopefully I won't make a mess so you can get an idea what that looks like. So you can see how smooth that is? It's incredibly smooth. And you can do this the day before, you can do it in the morning, but it's nowhere near as good as right now when you've just completely pulverized those mushrooms and garlic and shallots, and you will not find any of that if you do it in the blender. Set it up like this, bring it out to the table. If you can heat up the bowls, even a bigger bonus, because the soup will get cold really fast. And then have a nice soup tureen. Well, I'm just gonna pour it out of here and show you how you can do this. But otherwise, up. All right, so then we're just gonna get little cuts of chives. Oh, don't need a lot, because that is still the raw onion flavor. And then our fun little truffle that you may not be able to get, but I guarantee you, if you do, you'll have some happy patrons. And if you're like me, you can find these in the wintertime and then save them. You can freeze them, put them in oil, and it doesn't take a lot, a little bit on top. Crazy flavor. Truffles all around the top. Some little micro chives on top of that. I like that guy. And there you go. With the easiest mushroom soup you've ever been able to make, I guarantee it. I have the Reserve Shiraz that is this is one of my favorite new wines. Yellowtail has come out with this Reserve, and Shiraz, one of my favorite varietals. I'm gonna pour some of this. And look at how amazing that is. Look at the color on that. So fun with this Reserve Shiraz, huge hints of cherry, blackberry, and just look at the vibrant color. Amazing of that. Then a bit of spice, like most Shiraz, you'll find a bit of spice and a kick of the fresh, almost a fresh ground pepper kick. So that's what I like about using the pepper and having that fresh ground pepper in this. You'll find it again, and a nice balance, nice bit of spice to wake up the mushroom soup and whatever else you've got going on. Man, does that smell good. Shiraz, doesn't get any better than that. Yellowtail Reserve, button mushroom soup. It's that easy. Bon appetit.